Hey guys, Dawn here. When you saw that fancy intro, you probably thought you were going to get somebody else here today, but nope, it's just me. I'm here today to talk to you about OpenShift 4.20. So this is our newest release, came out on the 28th of October, 2025, in case you forgot what year we're in. I wanted to give you a rundown of all the features that affect virtualization in particular. One really big one, we're constantly trying to spread out our cloud footprint. We're now generally available on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And that is an add-on to our existing list of cloud providers. And just to give you a refresher on that, OpenShift Virtualization is available on ROSA, which is Red Hat OpenShift on AWS. That's a managed service. Also self-managed OpenShift on AWS. OpenShift Virtualization is also available on IBM Cloud, on Arrow, which is Azure, Microsoft Azure. That's their managed offering for OpenShift. And then finally, OpenShift Dedicated and self-managed OpenShift on Google Cloud Platform. They're still tech preview, but they should be going GA very soon. In the realm of infrastructure, we also have ARM support now available. Also generally available in 4.20 is virtual machine load-aware balancing. So this means that OpenShift can now take your CPU pressure into account. When it's balancing workloads and rebalance as the need arises. You can now hot plug and hot unplug. A secondary network interface to a VM without manually triggering live migration. Managing the link state of a virtual machine interface is now also generally available. You can now use BGP or Border Gateway Protocol to configure dynamic ingress and egress routing for VMs that are connected to primary user-defined networks. Importing routes from provider networks into Oven Kubernetes eliminates the need to manually configure routes on the hosts. And with dynamic egress, you can export VM IP addresses to provider networks, making VMs directly reachable from outside the cluster. You can now use the Plug a Simple Socket Transport, PASST, network binding plugin to connect a VM to a primary user-defined network. When I do OpenShift virtualization workshops and I get to the live migration portion, a question I'm often asked is, how can I specify which node I want this virtual machine to migrate to? And then I would typically give my spiel about how in OpenShift you set up labels, affinity rules, anti-affinity rules, taints, tolerations, and how you let OpenShift do the work for you. But now, because of popular demand, we've added the ability to specify a particular node for that VM to migrate to manually. The Instance Types tab for creating new virtual machines now includes options for selecting huge pages. For air-gapped environments, we now have disconnected and registry-less installation for OpenShift virtualization. This is now technology preview in 4.20. So this installer has a guided UI for air-gapped deployments, and this removes also the need for an external image registry or mirror registry. In the future, we'll be focusing on extending this registry-less architecture to handle day 2 operations as well without relying on an external registry. And the way it does this is by allowing you to download a single comprehensive ISO that includes the Red Hat Core OS, OpenShift, and a pre-selected set of operators for OpenShift virtualization. Now I want to go a little bit bigger and talk about multi-cluster management. As of OpenShift 4.20 and Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management 2.15, you can now create and manage VMs on multiple clusters from that single pane of glass. As an aside, I always want to call it Advanced Cluster Manager, and then I imagine like an actual manager. I don't know. It's funny to me. We also include the ability now to optimize your clusters with a guided flow that allows you to install all the additional operators that are needed for managing virtual workloads in your attached clusters. Another exciting development is in Tech Preview, we now have cross-cluster live migration. That's right. So you could take a running virtual machine and migrate it from cluster to cluster. And hopefully I can do a video on that soon. We also have something called right sizing recommendations. This is a capability that helps users identify over-provisioned or underutilized virtual machines, avoiding unnecessary costs and allowing users to make a more efficient use of their infrastructure. And this does this by analyzing real or near real-time resource consumption, like CPU and memory, and comparing it to originally requested resources. And the output is displayed as a dashboard in the ACM observability console. And then finally, we've made huge improvements to migration with the migration toolkit. And one of the big ones is storage offloading. So basically what we're doing here is rather than MTV doing all of the migration itself, it's leveraging storage offload from underlying storage vendors. There's a whole list of storage vendors that we support, and this is sped up migration anywhere from 10 to more times. Our currently supported vendors for storage offloading are Hitachi Vantara, NetApp ONTAP, Dell, PowerFlex, PowerMax, PowerStore, Pure FlashArray, and HPE's 3PAR and Primera. But work continues continuously with other storage vendors to get their storage to support storage offloading for migration. So thanks for following along with me. Those are all the heavy hitters, the big updates for virtualization for OpenShift 4.20. Coming up soon, we'll have some videos that are showing you some of these features up close and personal, how to set them up, how to configure them, how to use them, starting with Red Hat Advanced Cluster Manager for virtualization. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I've always wanted to do that. And let me know what you think. Are there any of these features in particular that you'd like to see demoed in a video? Let me know. And follow me for more OpenShift tips, tricks, how-to videos, demos, and a guidebook to all cryptids of North America. Sorry, wrong channel. Let's grab OpenShift 4.20 and let's get virtual.